Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for February 19th?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes, February 19th.
Now,
Second,
okay.
Dan second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the February 19th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. Let's see. We have a list of upcoming meetings and minutes for everyone to review there. Next would be public comment. Do we have any public comment on today's meeting?
I just wanted to remind members, that the 4-H is having on Thursday night, this Thursday is having a candidate forum. And it starts at 6:30. And I did put it, I don't have a copy of the minutes here, but I did put it on, it's on the copy of the minutes, March 20th at 6:30.
Yeah.
And that is sponsored by the local 4-H.
On to the monthly status reports, committee meeting updates, ball field updates, follow up on shed and check holes in the field.
I can give you an update on that. So when we talked last time, we made a recommendation to the board to try to acquire the building out there in Wisconsin. So I'll make a long story short. We're gonna go ahead and purchase the building and its contents from the Sandpipers organization for a price of $2,200. Okay. And Boosters is gonna give us a check for $1,100 for what they consider to be the value of the things that are inside the shed. Okay. So today I went up there, and because the lock that's on the shed right now, what was open, first of all, and it wasn't able to be locked. So Terry was able, her husband was here, and he was able to go up there and figure out how to get the lock to slide over into the locking position. And she now has 2 keys here, one which will be kept in the town hall and one that is gonna be held by the Boosters. Okay, and when I leave today, I'll put this lock on the shed. Okay, now we're not gonna be paying them until our next town board meeting when we can approve the actual check. And Boosters was okay with that. Okay, so
Now it's the Boosters, not the Sandpipers that we're dealing with?
Yeah, that kind of came about, Dan mentioned it last week
Okay.
that the Sandpipers are, have given up the
Yep.
field. And Boosters, because they're expanding, they're actually wanting the field,
Okay.
which was
Yeah.
good.
Good.
and there's bases in there, and there's that fence that was crossed for the softball field, they might use that still, and there's lining and chalk in there, lining equipment, they think it's worth the amount of money that they're paying, so. Okay, and another follow-up to, when I talked to Scott yesterday, to kind of finalize all of this. I asked them when they thought they might start using the field, and he doesn't think they're going to start using the field until mid-April.
Okay,
Unless we get some really change in the weather, that it gets really warm all of a sudden, but they try not to use their fields too early because they don't want to tear them up. You know, because they're still damp or wet out there, so he doesn't think they're gonna use it till then, so. That's all.
Thank you, Dan. Review budget. We got these 2 sheets from the clerk.
I had just a question for Dan, quick, while we're reviewing that. Was there anything at the last town hall board meeting or anything about the building or any updates on anything there?
About the shed, you mean?
Well, no, I meant about, cause we have community meeting updates, so I was just wondering if there was anything more about the town hall building or anything like that?
No, nothing really. They're moving along on the inside. If if you went in there, all the walls are up, all the HVAC is up, all the electrical is being worked on, and plumbing and everything. In fact, I believe the sheetrock, if it didn't start this week, is actually, will start next week. So it's gonna start looking like a real building pretty quick, you know. Tomorrow, they're gonna be testing a new pump in the well out here. You probably heard was a problem with the well capacity, you know, and with Stantec made an engineering mistake on the building,
Another one?
and not another one, you know, but they're hoping this new pump will help resolve the issue at a lower cost to them. Okay. So that's being tested tomorrow, and everybody's keeping their fingers crossed on that one. So.
And the, what do you call it, the fire. what do you call it?
Sprinkler system?
Sprinklers is underneath the roof, how is that?
That's all installed.
Oh, that's all.
It's all, everything's installed, yep,
Okay, so that's safe,
yep,
the whole building,
whole building sprinkler.
and who paid for that?
We believe Stantec will be paying for that.
It's not a minor expense, right?
Oh, not a minor expense.
Okay.
I don't think there was one other thing. Oh, the occupancy date is probably into the June timeframe at a minimum. So. That is what it is.
Oh, thank you. I have a question here, the cost, it says January to December 23rd, so we have had 2 months, $768. Just for the restroom expenses. That's only for 2 months, so do they pay 300 and something every month then?
Well, it's possible that that includes December, because the December bill probably gets paid in January.
Okay.
I'm just guessing,
You're guessing.
but that would seem logical to me.
That includes Perch Lake too, right?
I would, well, no,
Uh,
Birch Lake parking lot is a separate line item, $109.
Well,
Hmm.
we'll see
Oh,
next
okay.
month what it is,
Yeah.
so then we can guess them. I don't have the one from the set. From the last one.
But I was surprised under animal control when I looked at the detail report here that she sent out, that there was almost $636 in animal control for the month of February.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was, so I caught Terry quick before she left today. And that was just for 2 items, or 2 instances. You know, under animal control. Just to make a long story short, one of them was for a woman. Who was in the trailer park over on Main Street, you know, in Holton. And she called because of a dog that she had on a leash, and the long story short, the dog actually ended up being hers, but she didn't want to take care of it anymore.
Interesting.
Well, and so, yeah, he ended up taking it and getting it transported to the Chippewa Valley Humane Society, but that one alone was $335. But you know, right, Terry, right before she left, I asked her that question about, did these things get billed out, you know, and she said that they both were. I don't know if we actually get 100% reimbursement on these or not, when they actually happen. But this was basically a woman who really couldn't take care of her dog anymore, called animal control and gave them a story and got rid of it, you know. So the next one actually was reported by Jay Griggs about a dog that had been roaming around near his neighborhood or whatever. And it turned out that this dog, these are interesting to read. This dog was, let's was a dog that was adopted by somebody in Stillwater about 6 or 9 months ago. And soon after he adopted it, he lost the dog. Okay. And somehow it ended up over here in Wisconsin, but it was microchipped. So when he called the person back, well, this person had already got another dog,
Oh,
okay? And didn't want this dog back. Okay, so that this one actually totaled $301. Okay, but Terry billed these out. I mean, he's the owner of the dog. You know, so I think we should just, out of curiosity, I think we should follow up on just these two.
Yeah.
Just to see if
Just
we
to
ever
see
get it.
what, if we get, so by build out, you mean they build the owners of the dogs for the
Yes.
amount of the money?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the fees came from the animal
Yeah,
control company that we
his
hire.
breakdown of fees on this one was like 5 3/4 hours at $20 an hour, mileage of $126. And an unclaimed dog fee of $60. This one was 4.5 hours and 208 miles, because he had to travel all the way to Eau Claire or Chippewa Falls, I'm sorry to. And a surrender value of $100. I mean, so it adds up fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just for 2 animals.
So I have a question. Do we have to go to Chippewa Falls?
Well, no, he has different places. He calls around to different places to see where he
Okay.
can place the dog. And
Does it have to be in, I wonder if, does it have to be in Wisconsin or?
I don't think
because-
so, no, he's had some Minnesota spots too,
Okay,
but it's just that what, whatever the inventory is like, whether. or not
Whoever
they
has
have
space and-
available and stuff like that,
wow.
but I think I'm just curious for us to follow up, just to see if we ever get any money back on any of these.
But I remember years ago, I had 2 dogs and both were about to run away. And I was working in the city, so when I came, they were not here. And I started calling, and then I got the message that they found them and they brought them to River Falls. They had the place there. Well, it cost me $300, 2 dogs, $150 per dog. Just to bring it there, plus the overnight hotel. So I thought, my dogs will never get out of here, then I got an electric fence, that's it. Yeah, but you never know, they maybe that dog started roaming around, eventually ended up here, the river was frozen, but getting lost. It's easier, they start to, they're not used to be free.
But our $5,000 budget is gonna be chewed up pretty fast.
Yeah.
That's just 2 dogs.
Yeah.
So do we have anything in the, in the township, like written up what our protocol is for this, that if we get it, that we immediately,
A
you
new
know,
place opened across from the Somerset Legion called Poco's, I think. I'll just stop in there and see
is
if they
Yeah.
take dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Coco's
Coco's-
Heart Rescue.
Heart
Yeah.
Rescue, yeah.
Yeah.
Big place.
But to your question, I don't think so, but it's a good question, because especially the first one here is a woman who owned the dog and just made it sound like it was a lost dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it actually was her dog the whole time.
That fee should be.
It just
Sure.
wanted.
Well, and the other ones too, the fact that like by the time you get there, they already have a new dog, which says to me that, oh yeah, that one wasn't working out real well.
He dropped it off over here, you know?
Do the fees that, when you license your pet here, come into this budget fully, or are they just depending on how our budget works, right? Is
I'm
that what
sorry.
that, the fees when we do license our pets in the township?
Yeah.
Is that what the 5,000
Yeah,
budget is from, or do
Well-
is that not cover all the fees or?
I think the $5,000 budget is what we expect to pay animal control during the year for the dogs. Now, if we get reimbursed, that number would go back against that. You know what I mean? So let's say we get $300 back, instead of being 600 and some, it'd be 300 and some. So, but I'm curious as to how much do we really recover in fees?
And last year, for example, how much cost was involved with that last
Yeah,
year?
I
To
think-
have a
I think we'll ask
comparison,
Terry. We should get a-
$5,000, estimated, but maybe last year it was only 2,000, we don't
Yeah.
know.
And then can you get the revenue from fees then that go to pet control and for us to be aware of too? Is that less or less than 5,000 or is that more than 5,000? Are we kind of flat is what I'm saying, based on the number of pets that are being registered and licensed? How much revenue is the township getting on
I have. no
animal
idea.
fees?
I don't have.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, when you're asking Terry, if you don't mind asking that also.
That's Terry. You know,
And by the way, if you have not licensed your dog, I think that was due by March first. But they will
April, it's
still
April,
let you do it.
it's due April 1st
April
before a fee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fee goes up. It's like $10 for neutered or spayed dog, but it goes up twice that to $20 if you haven't done it. So,
and there's a lot of people that do not license their dogs,
yes.
so.
I had to recognize, I licensed my dog, but I one year I forgot. Well, what can I do? I was out of town, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
I
and
think
it's, I mean, they're more than, if you're late, they don't,
Well,
it's
now
only
they sent a letter
$20, but
with I think when, with the taxes, for our taxes, property tax, it comes sometimes a little leaflet with it, so
Yeah.
that helps you to remember.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
should not have told
What
you.
most people don't know is that dog licensing is not a town requirement. It's actually a state requirement. Or it's not even a county requirement. It's a, we're obligated to do it because of the state.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks we're the bad guys. We just have to.
Is the fee set by the state or is that a township fee? Because to
The
license
fees are
doesn't,
split between the town and the county,
okay, because it doesn't necessarily have to cost a fee
Yeah.
other than the processing of it, right?
so.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, moving along. I mean, the animal control is only 20% of our budget. I'm not sure why we're so concerned.
But I can see where Dan would be concerned, and
Well, I
as
mean,
being a
it's-
board member, you want to know. I mean, $600 with 2 incidences, that's a hefty amount to pay for people. who-
I might want to go in the animal control business.
It's looking lucrative.
And back to the, just the animal control people going out there and picking up that dog and then sending us a bill when the woman owns the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a weird one.
well, moving right along. Volunteer opportunities for April.
That weather dependent perhaps? Or do we have anything that's queued up?
Well, there's a lot of things for volunteers, like we discussed it. Buckthorn, we don't know what's going to be next year at the park. The rain garden probably needs a little bit of attention. We'll see how
When it
that
warms
goes in the
up,
first
yeah.
year, so we'll see. We'll
Do,
come back nicely.
do we have a list of volunteers?
Who said, who had a whole group of people? They could call them, was it,
I think Janet last
Janet?
year sent, yeah,
think
would
she
send out an
said
email or a
Janet.
text list.
group of people, when we need to call them, then she knows about that. So I think I would wait until Janet is here.
Janet's here.
So cold it's March. Who's doing anything outside?
I sure doesn't seem like it. I'd wanna go outside.
Right?
We had, one nice day.
I'd have her cross my name off if we were doing anything this week. Site inspections, annual work on all our properties. I do think we divided that up a couple of years ago. To fill out that form.
Yeah,
Should we
I
look
was
at,
in charge of the cemetery. We have done,
because I think everybody has the form, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't even get the form. Maybe we should decide who's doing what this year.
yeah.
Let's start out with the town hall park here. Who's in charge of that one?
Well.
I only have the Perch Lake parking lot, so I could do that one.
Okay.
So,
I think the cemetery, we have done quite a bit of work because there I was keeping track of what had to be done. But we put the gravel in. There's still probably some dead trees coming down there from the storms. So we're cleaning them up. And Kyle normally came with his tractor and he mulched whatever we could run to the chipper.
Should we put you down for a report next month then on that one, the cemetery?
I can talk to Kyle, but I think we have to wait a little bit because we can get some more stones. We can see whatever's now, but we can get even more stone, more trees coming down. So Kyle normally is a volunteer to use his tractor.
Yeah.
And to pick up branches and so on, we collect easily whoever we're sitting here, right? That's, and some of you volunteers. Tom is a volunteer, John is not a volunteer. And there's a couple of women, I don't remember, they're the master gardeners.
Oh, Mrs. Kubler was one of them.
What?
Like Mrs. Kubler,
I don't remember the names.
Mark Kubler's wife?
yep, she came and helped when we did the sign out
Yeah.
here, the town hall sign. And who else was there that day?
I didn't know them, so I've been working, I was looking at the
Well-
ground, so I didn't look at the faces too much.
Well, Jan Gavin was there too. Jan Gavin,
Yeah,
Mark
Jack was there
Kubler.
too. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a
So
group.
I can bring a report what has to be done for the cemetery. Maybe by next month. Looks a little bit more spring-like and see what we have to do and then how much work is to be done. That's the only thing, and if
Because-
something is broken or something.
Because we are into the end of April, almost our next meeting. So I guess anybody that's, like, if you're. If
Yeah, we-
Janet's got a list of volunteers, maybe if any work could be done before our next meeting, that would be good.
Okay. I would be willing to help you too here at the town and at Perch, because I know there's some loose stones
Yeah.
at Perch on those steps going down. And I was gonna see if I can get my husband to go over and look at them and maybe cement them back
Former
in.
cement guy.
Yeah, help cement them back in.
That sounds great. I'll
Okay.
work with you on this in the Perch Lake.
All right,
Or,
And
because
then
I'm
town
over to
hall,
Perch a lot too.
I think, we were discussing last time that, who is going to mow the trails? Was it Kyle? No, it's the son from Marty, Bob Marty, right? He's going to do the.
I think that's part of Marty's contract,
Okay,
to mow the trail, just to mow it.
mow them and to widen them up a little bit because they say it was too much.
narrow?
Yeah, so that is.
To make two passes.
Yeah. two
Yeah,
passes.
2 passes on them.
But then, we probably have to open, and that's not in April or May, when they're done with the building and everything is cleaned up. And they put some soil in there, then the trail from going, so the west trail. You cannot walk on there, but we have to create an entrance and maybe bring the trail a little bit around, loop it. And then also how it comes out behind the building, how we deal with that. And with Kyle and I, we can go and like we have done it before. I can look at it, I can walk, and he comes with his mower and we cut and create and adjust the trails again. The other part will be fine, because we don't have to move that. But this part has to be done. And as soon as they have done with the work and they have put the soil, and maybe we have to seed, so there's some work to be done.
There'll be some work back there.
Yeah, another thing is, do we do some plantings? Because the building is there, I just, when I drove up, we have now this fancy drive up to the building, but then there's this strip here. What are we going to do that? Can we put some plantings there? Do we put stones?
Was that part of the
Yeah.
budget, though? I remember the question, you're asking a good question. I don't know if I recall the answer. Was that part of the building budget? Would there be some plantings we'd be responsible for executing, but was that covered?
I
Do you
couldn't tell you.
recall? I remember asking that last
I
year.
don't
I
know
just
how
don't know
it's
if we got
broken
an answer
I
on that.
suppose they must have some kind of money into the landscaping around.
Yeah, right.
And,
But there's not gonna be landscaping next to the building, if I'm correct. I don't think there's not gonna be like any. Bushes or anything up against the building.
It's
My- to my
all
knowledge.
cemented to the building then, yeah.
You know, that, there's gonna be brick on the lower half of the building. You know, or the order, but I don't think there's gonna be any plantings there, if I remember correctly.
well, that's what Teresa said. She wanted to only have stones.
Oh, that's right,
stones.
yeah, trees.
And we have a nice, I think we should do some kind of little bit of landscaping and to make the building from the outside looking a little bit more attractive, not just leaving That's my feeling, just
Maybe,
leaving stones. and
maybe we
all.
can make a plan or a
It's-
couple of suggestions for her to
That's a
review,
sidewalk.
right?
I was gonna say.
Oh, no, they're not. Or-
Yeah, there's a lot of space there. This is kind of on the side. And then is the strip here between,
Yeah.
what do we do with this strip?
I'm not sure what's happening there. We don't look at the diagram, but there is a lot of, did she just think there's gonna be grass there? I don't.
She was saying stones, and I.
Oh, stones.
But personally, I don't think it's a nice thing to have it all filled with stones. I think we can have a combination with some stones, but have some, you know, some.
Since you have the expertise. Options of having that space would that sound very shooting.
It has to be drawn up and put some ideas.
Yeah, and say,
Yeah,
like, here's.
whatever.
But I, knowing Teresa, she has a very strong opinion of things when she,
But this is
But-
why you have that. parks
I know,
board,
but
too.
you have to remember that, kind of like park board, everybody's one vote, Teresa's one vote.
Yeah,
You know what I
Right.
mean?
so I
So-
think,
Very good, there's costs, but.
Yeah,
I think we'll have time on this one with the town hall group.
Yeah.
Because, they're not gonna start doing the work around the building until they get more along inside the building.
Why don't we break
So-
up the town hall into, like, you have the park, we have the prairie, and then we have right here, right? Didn't we get, somebody used to take care of right outside of this entrance, right? And now is that falling back to us? That person's no longer able
that
to
was
care for it?
Caroline Barrett, she was taking care of that, but she cannot do it anymore.
Okay, so that falls to us now, right? Am I
It was
correct?
done, everything
Or-
is done by volunteers. here.
correct, but overseeing maybe
Yeah,
to,
so what I would suggest is that I can tackle one more time to create for the town hall, to create some kind of landscaping plan. I need the drawings. So I have the dimensions, I can go and measure, but I would rather have the
well,
drawings.
the drawings
And
are
then
over
we-
here, we can easily get the dimensions off of those, but I think, I think this is a good idea. To make sure that the town board considers both options. No landscaping, or. I thought it was gonna be grass, but somebody, you said it was gonna be rocks, or
Now is the time to.
now is the time to do it, and. I personally, I think it would be nice, you have to remember there's ongoing maintenance then. I'm sure part of Teresa's logic is that if you put rocks in there, there's no ongoing maintenance, but there would be some. But it would definitely make it look nicer, but now would be the time for the Parks Committee to make that recommendation.
And I think from my experience, people go through, everything goes through the eyes. We have a nice, and we get so much comments about the park and with the plantings we have done. After we put in the plantings, people are commenting and they're coming here,
Yeah.
they can walk, they really like it. So if we create for the town, I can create for the town board a sketch, how it will look. How it is with stones and how it is with some minimal plantings that it doesn't give too much work. But we have to work anyhow with the playground. So do a little bit more here around the building. Come on.
And whatever cost. Was. Put out there to put all the stone in. Could be redirected to landscaping.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or maybe there would be stones underneath underneath landscaping, I'm not sure, but keep talking, I'll get those dimensions for you.
thanks, Dan.
But that would be the time to come up with that plan.
So if we
Well,
did
for the
that in
next
terms of
meeting,
timing, when, is there the next meeting
Well-
or how much time do you
The
need?
date for the town board meeting in April.
And even though the building occupancy is gonna be in June. The landscaping doesn't have to be done by then,
Right.
No,
the
but
land-
so they mentally get prepared and
Yeah,
get
as
the
long as
funds
there's a
and.
plan in place to get it in there, and come up with some sort of hedging or something, or, I don't know. Whatever your thoughts
Okay.
are.
Yeah, would be good to get in front of any order of stone, so they have the option to consider
Another
stone. I mean,
Example is,
yeah,
50 years ago, I built an elderly apartment building in Somerset. We put rock in there. Since then, we pulled all that damn rock out.
Cause all the grass grows, all the grass
Oh,
grows
yeah.
up, no matter what you put down. And
Plants.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, no matter what you put in there, the grass comes up. We did the same thing at my son's house. He had all, the guy had put all the rock in and now we're picking out stones. Shovel load by shovel load.
The landscaping plan, I think is really attractive.
Then maybe they can give me, send me the page,
Yeah, but we can get the whole dimension off it.
because I don't.
It's 112 feet long,
Yeah,
so that's the entire front of the building, so that's what you're dealing with, 100. But now how wide it is out there, it probably looks like 4 or 5 feet wide. I mean, we could walk over there and take a quick measurement, you know. This is the back of the building, this is the front, this is the front over here. Let's say how far it is out to the sidewalks, let's see.
no, there must be another drawing.
Well, there's all kinds of guys. Which one did you think you were gonna look at?
Just the floor plan with the pavement and,
Okay,
okay.
yeah, I'll find it there.
Okay.
3 lines of ice break.
I know. Otherwise, I'm gonna walk someone.
We talked about, of course, the town hall park, which I think will take a little longer than. The next meeting will be more of a discussion. We got the cemetery. Pat and I were gonna take the town hall park and the Birch Lake parking lot along with the steps that go down there. Cemetery, Nina's going to check through that and see if there's any more things that need to be done. I don't think we need to do anything on that Highway 35 thing
No, Kyle just.
right now.
the fire department will. Well, but it's on their schedule to do a control burnout.
So try not to be
Okay.
working out there during the control burn.
You don't need to be running.
Our insurance is pretty light.
Yeah.
Okay,
So going back to the town
Alright.
hall Friday is the same thing. When you start walking, well, the trails are not put in. That map here, that one map here has to be changed also.
Yeah.
Because the trails will be different. At
It'll
least
be
that
different
right behind
here.
will be different. Maybe,
yeah, we'll have to wait till after
And
you
we'll
get them
have
in.
more time here because
yeah.
obviously the building's not gonna be done.
And if the maps are not put right away, they have been there.
I think we're okay. We can change the maps after it's completed, so. Any other parks we need to deal with right now?
Sorry, that was my mind is some. What did you say?
Are there any other parks that have to be addressed right now?
Touched on it.
I think we've got,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thing that we want back here is on the town hall park, if that's where we decided, is the engineer. Is that what we're talking about versus is that?
That was to put some more mulch underneath the swing and some areas because it's compacts over time. So that is the engineered mulch, which is wood fibers also.
It's still wood. Okay,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
my question.
yeah,
Was
that's
is that
the
the
chips.
agreement?
But it's a special wood chips for the playground.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to.
you know, that might be a volunteer thing too, cause I know Janet's gone out there before with like a pitchfork and kind of fluffed it up and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But it takes quite a few people to do that, just otherwise, I mean,
We do a lot of service projects, but we try to switch those up each year. So if we move here, that would be an easy job for the 4-H club to do. Sometimes we go to, there's so many different service projects that every year we just try to do something.
Okay.
And then we get back, I try to get involved best, but something like that where a lot of hands right here, if we think about it, hands. So we're not really-
How old are they, those from 4-H? How old are the kids from
Oh,
4-H?
good question.
cause it'd be an older youth, cause it's a pitchfork kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
because at the start of the season,
14 and
The liability thing
17.
is just shooting through the ceiling for me, I'm just like, oh,
At the
kids
start
and
of the-
pitchfork.
the season, there's quite a bit of work, a person could easily schedule a half a day with a group like yours to go around the park, to pull the weeds, to rake, do some raking and do some mulching and things. If we could set up a
Exactly.
time with them, that would be great.
Be happy to.
You wanna look into that?
Yes. We typically meet here on Sundays, and so. And if we do a service project and there's some educational component with, like if somebody were to speak on something else too, it's all better, but that's not even necessary, just again, for being here, it's a way to get back.
That would be,
We've always had 3 park people with them too, to help you and get the tools. So, yeah, if you could get back to me on that, I'd be happy to help coordinate it with you.
Okay. So,
And it's in a playground, it's a perfect thing.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they're done, they can play in the playground.
so.
Yeah.
let's just.
Just the town hall here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've burnt out our volunteers a couple of years ago when we did the slide. I haven't seen a lot of those people back since. Okay. Town Hall Prairie, we kind of went through that, Nature Preserve, we talked about that,
yeah,
the launch, Perch Lake launch area.
talked about
We're
that.
gonna get together with, Tim and
Tim, see if I,
get a cement truck there.
cement truck.
Salem Cemetery, a lot was done.
Why don't you back up to Perch Lake parking lot one more time? There's, I don't know how I don't know if there's anything we can do, but there's people that are dropping off larger trash items in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And I've had to call Todd a couple times to come over and pick it up, but I just don't know, there's no way to stop it. I mean, you know what I mean?
We should put a camera, a portable camera up
Well,
and a sign.
I think I would do like they do in Spain, like for, have a plastic camera that looks like a camera, but the big sign. Your
Surveillance.
Surveillance camera, but there's no camera.
Yeah.
It's just psychological.
you know, sometimes it's like a piece of furniture or
Oh,
a piece of electronics or, I mean. You know, I mean, I don't know, I just don't know any other way to address the issue. I mean, it happens.
we used to have it, I remember years ago, we had a problem just up here in the parking lot where people
Oh, yeah.
would drop mattresses and things
Yeah.
like that up there, yeah.
But I don't know, something to keep on our radar, I guess, if it gets to be a bigger problem. There's regular trash cans. Yeah, there's 2 or 3 of them, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Like somebody just last, in fact, it might still be there now because they put like an old dog crate, you know, a kennel, dog kennel. They just set it down next to the trash can and assume it's gonna be picked up, you know, but they don't take that big stuff. We have to send Todd out there, pick it up and get rid of it, so. I don't know if there's any, and putting a dumpster out there is bad because that's.
Yeah, that would make it worse.
That would be the worst.
Yeah.
That's a really big invitation.
Yeah.
So,
But I think we can put a sign.
Dan, you may want that dog crate for your new animal control business.
I was thinking the same thing.
Nice.
I was like,
surveillance
oh.
site.
Oh, you go pick up dogs, there it is, the crate, you know? I think God's trying to
I
set you
didn't inspect it
aside.
too closely. I don't know what kind of shape it was in. No.
But
Okay.
Discuss fall festival. Are you still in charge of that?
yes, and I have Jill that's offered to help with that this year, so. So Janet and I actually contacted Zach and Anthony about getting together, and Zach basically said that Anthony is the one that needs to go forward with this project, and so then Janet went out of town, but then I called Anthony and he was out of town for a week, and so we never got together. But I will try again. So, but Anthony is the one that Zach wants us to work with.
Okay.
And so, we do know that much, and Janet and I both called and we did try to get together, but. I will call Anthony again and see if I can get him. I think what happened is we were gonna get together. Try to get together the following week, and then that big storm hit with the 11 inches of snow, so that was kind of a.
Yeah. Do you have a date yet on that?
It's the 3rd week of September, which is. I'll tell you in 1 minute here, September. It is the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's all I know right now.
So on to the grant information. Did anyone have a chance to look through the grant information that Janet sent to us on the weed management control?
I think her answer back was, to me, was, I feel like this one, she felt like the timing was too tight.
Too tight.
You want to turn on your mic?
Just sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't on. I had summarized that what she had put out there, that one seemed like the most viable.
Yeah.
Buckthorn, maybe I could probably look harder, see if there's something else, but that one seemed most viable because we're a government entity versus an individual landowner that they funded. But Janet's response back to me after I sent this was timeline's probably too tight for this year, but let's take inventory of what we would need to have it done by next year, since the application date would be April 1st.
After I read through it, I was thinking the same thing. We almost need to look at where we think it needs to be done and then figure out how it fits into this.
Yeah.
And none of that will be done in a week's time.
Exactly, exactly. It just was too tight, unfortunately, you know, when I pulled that together. But something, you know, viable we should be looking at for sure next year. Why not leverage public funding if it's available to help control it more than we can with volunteers?
Is there any area that has to be done immediately? I think we've addressed it here and there, but we don't have it out of control anywhere right now.
I think they said somewhere on that area there was some buckthorn, but I
Not-
have not walked it. I have walked
Not
it.
very much out here.
There's not very much.
I think most buckthorn we have. Well, Teresa says it's back here, but we don't have much trees left back there. But I would say the preserve has more than anywhere,
Yeah, the preserve has a lot.
has a lot.
But I think here in the town park here, there was also some.
There's some back there.
Okay.
I don't know when they're going to do the
Burn,
burn, and it would be maybe good after the burn to see. And get out there, or even before.
Yeah.
Another job.
but I think to apply for this weed management area, we need more time.
Yes.
We need to assess the area we want to do it in and how we're gonna do it. I didn't understand what they allowed us to use to kill it, or don't they?
I don't think there was, I didn't see a restriction either. I think what you're doing is putting forth your plan and they're funding it. I don't think it mattered. Cause it's, if I recall right, they had a labor rate, you know, couldn't exceed XYZ labor. And if there was chemical or treatment needed, it felt like that was just all covered. It just needed to be itemized,
Yeah.
what the grant was gonna be used for.
I didn't see anywhere where it says use your own judgment.
Well, well, and I didn't see anything where it said prescribed to only do it this way, I guess, on the
Yeah,
alternate. So it felt like you put a plan together and if it's, you know, and if you're awarded, you could go through and use that plan. And since we're talking about places where there is people, typically the buckthorn chemical application I'm aware of is basil bark application. It's done late fall after everything else has died and buckthorn's the only thing that still has the green leaves on.
yeah,
Certainly the people applying it are full mass, so it's not, so it's a caustic chemical by all means, but it's done at the application. It's not a broadleaf foliar spray. It's done on the base of it and then it's done a follow up in the next spring also. So times when people wouldn't likely be in the park. And also, again, it's pointed application versus a general.
Somebody was talking about buckthorns, that if you want to start holding it back, if you go when the bloom, after the bloom, when they start getting the seeds and they're green before they mature. If you pull them out there or you cut them down there, then you stop a lot of propagation because those seeds and they're hanging there and then you burn whatever you
Yeah.
cut down.
If,
That's a way to.
yeah, I think buckthorn grows 3 ways through the seeds. It also almost like a rhizome, like you know, it comes out through the roots too and will propagate and it will come back off the root stock too. So that's why sometimes either you're mowing it for 7 years before it can even get to seed stage and keeping it low, or you're doing the treatment, or you're literally digging it out at the stump, or somehow doing the buckthorn bags where you cover the stump so it can't propagate. But it's a tough invasive species. Yeah, for sure.
Easy.
do we need to talk about that one anymore?
I feel like we table it till this summer or till this fall, till we have it identified what we didn't get done through the burning and everything else, where to go.
Just
I think
to,
inventory, as soon as we have inventory this year,
then we
for
can
the fall,
talk, yeah.
then we can talk and decide how much we have. Now we know what we have. And then go from there.
Or if there's any other grants someone else comes up with that has a different timeline, you know, that feels relevant to us too. Let's, you know, we can look into it at that point.
So the committee or subcommittee recommendations to the board, do we have any recommendations to the town board this meeting? Besides the landscaping and the rocks, do we need a A
Well,
motion for that, Dan?
I think we should
Or-
back up. Did we
well,
do
I
number
think is-
5 there, the PT?
Yeah,
Yeah, is that a subcommittee recommendation for the number 5, the committee membership?
No,
Or is that a broader recommendation?
number 5 is, so the town year is coming up here. The annual meeting will be in middle of April sometime. I don't know what the exact date of the meeting is. But usually all the committees kind of get looked over for membership and, you know, try to get vacant seats filled and all that kind of thing. And I know that Janet and Kyle, while they're not here tonight, they want to stay on the Parks Committee. But I think Janet would like to not be the chairperson anymore. Okay, and I can't be the chairperson because I'm a member of the town board. So, you know, I guess Janet was kind of hoping that someone might want to think about stepping up to that position, you know, for the coming year.
I'm already the secretary. That was only supposed to go for a few months and I've done it for years.
So, I mean,
You're resigning too,
No, I'm not resigning. I just,
or you're moving on? from
I
that?
finally got to the point where I thought I could type a little faster.
Yeah.
Nina, would you be interested in being the chairperson?
No, no, because this year I've been around here, but I've been on the committee and I'm not good at it, you know, explaining things and talking and no, I'm not the right person for that. If I would feel comfortable, I would do it, but I know I'm not good for that. So,
Mark,
No,
Mark?
Tammy,
I think I have to take on the 4-H leadership position this year because our leader's backing off. So I don't know how much I can do both. I don't know what that means at the county level for 4-H and those other meetings. So, because the chairperson also attends the town board meetings, right, on occasion?
not typically.
Okay,
If I'm at the meeting before the town board, I can report back for the,
right,
yeah.
you know, unless there's some major issue that's going on or something like that, so.
yeah.
It's usually just the one meeting a month, and it's really just keeping things moving along during the meeting. There's, you know,
So
yeah, it's more administrative than it is anything else, you
and
know.
we do have
Piece
people
of
that'll
cake,
fill out,
trouble with-
we do have people that'll fill in if
Okay.
you can't make a meeting, you
Okay.
know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Are you sure Janet, well?
What?
I said, are you sure Janet doesn't want to do it?
Yeah, and is
Like to
Janet,
step down.
and is it sometime like, does she have to transition at a certain time? Does it have to be by that next meeting or can
It's
it be?
typically
anytime?
that's when it happens it's typical that it happens then.
Okay.
So,
I wonder if you can share, for example, Janet has been, if she stays, say, let's say she stays for a year, but you join her and you work with her, so you don't have to, in a way, she officially is the chair, but then you can step in, you know how everything, because she has contact with the bike coalition and all that. So then you become aware of how that works and then you can step in for her. She probably will still stay on the park committee, but I notice they travel a lot. They like to.
is this everyone?
this is everyone.
Other than
Except
Yeah,
for
and
their-
Kyle and Janet.
Kyle and
yeah.
Janet, yeah.
They're gone.
Just,
Are there
right.
official alternates right now?
See, I'm an,
Kyle's an alternate
Okay.
and
I'm an alternate.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're an
So I would have to change out an alternate
Yeah.
role.
How many alternates?
There's 2 alternates.
yeah.
There used to be more people, but
And I know Kyle has mentioned that he would rather have more of the outside working
yeah, he likes to do the.
Yeah,
outdoor work.
that makes
rather
sense.
than the meeting part. So he's more than willing to, you know, be an alternate. So,
I think we should discuss more with Janet than maybe her timing. Maybe she's, she's willing
Yeah.
to.
I'm
stay
sorry,
on
but
for
my
sure.
husband just retired and it's just like, we would like to go do a few things. Plus I do the fall festival.
Yeah, you do it fine.
And then I do the secretary stuff.
The planting and all the drawings and the maps or whatever you do.
Yeah.
do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not the person to be check. And I've been on the park committee for years and years and years. I know.
I just don't know what I would necessarily being saying yes to, other than being at the meeting, so I'd certainly like to talk to Janet more so too. Yeah, so,
So we hope. And we hope you stay as an alternate or as a permanent member.
What do I need to do to become an? There needs to be
Just
a,
write a letter you're interested and we open the arms to have people.
And
Yeah,
it
I
goes,
think-
it'll go to the town board and the town board votes on it.
yes,
So-
it has to be addressed to,
but there's already 2 alternates, so there's not space yet, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
But Kyle wanted
that-
to. Kyle wanted
I don't
to
think
do
there's a
it.
limit on alternates,
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's a limit on alternates.
It's all right.
just a letter of interest. Yeah. And
I can send you an
Sure.
example of one.
Yeah.
yes, but you'll read her example and you'll say, I'm woefully underqualified.
Do you want to send her an example?
Oh,
I remember you saying that. It's
You
just
just
that
send-
I just
send
said
her
I put in
examples
that I
so you
worked at
know
Parks
who
and
you're
Rec, 'cause that's
working
my
with here.
degree and that's where I worked for 42 years. So,
Yeah,
so it has nothing to do with that. You don't, it doesn't have to be that
You can
grand,
just
but
be healthy and breathing.
no,
yes.
you'll
Uh,
soon
you'd
find.
be- You'd be a candidate.
Still, you'll
Yeah.
soon find you have very capable, humble servants here and that are very, very good and enjoy what they do and do a great job.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Jill's got a lot of, she's got a lot of good,
This
the
committee
fitness and
is
the.
much
thing.
more
She'd be good
informal
fit.
than other committees.
There we go.
Yeah. so
Yeah,
The Public Works
So-
Committee is a little bit more formal.
yes. This is
Alright,
the
so
best
I'll-
committee to be on.
Will you-
Fun.
will
This
you
was a
email
fun
that
one.
to me?
I will.
You're awesome, thank
Yeah.
you. And who do I send it to?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I will do that.
So
And I did send your phone number and your email address to Janet, so she has it now too,
Great,
so.
thank you.
I don't know if this has never happened before, but let's say that there is not a designated chairperson. Okay, I'm just throwing this out as a hypothetical, okay? Then, I think then if that was the case, I might be able to just say, I would be the person who ran the meeting. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I would go through the agenda, make sure everything gets done, and you'd still take notes, and we just wouldn't have a designated chairperson. Because I can't be the chairperson, but I could be the de facto, let's call it moderator or whatever, some word, come up with it or something like that. And then when things come up on here, we all take responsibilities for certain items on the agenda at any given time, and hopefully they all get done. I mean, I think that if that's acceptable to the committee, I don't know what the town board could say. If they said no, what could they? You know,
Yeah.
I don't-
I think it's just good to have Janet. Thank you for that opportunity too, to know, like, is there a whole lot of other direct contact that we don't know that she fields on our behalf and puts, into notes or as the primary contact? But if you're willing to, as an option, if that makes the most sense. Thank you, Dan.
I
can-
think there were more things that came up just because we were doing a lot of projects in the
Yeah.
past. We're kind of right now at the point where it's kind of hard to get more land and to do more projects because we're kind of maxed out as far as, applying for grants and stuff, because we don't qualify. Once we say, okay, we have, 4,000 or whatever people we have in the township but we have this many acres of parkland, then it would kind of it kind of boots us out of the system because we have a lot.
Hmm.
Because we had donated land and we were very lucky to have the donated land, but very fortunate, but
and we have been the last years with the playground here. We have been super busy. It took us 4 years to get everything done.
Yeah.
So now that is done.
right.
So now the other projects are a little bit less involved.
That was right after the preserve, so we've been busy for about 6 years.
Yeah, we haven't.
It's easy now.
Yeah, exactly. A piece of
Yeah, it
cake
was
now.
busy there for a while.
Right.
That's probably what they told you guys, right, as you
I
continue.
would
on.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Or- So move, if she seconded, did you have
Yeah.
a, I didn't hear that.
All in favor?
I,
Meeting adjourned?
the shortest meeting we have had.